What link am I pinning? Go ahead.
Hold on, Peter. Don't say nothing. All right, and as we continue with this conversation about the telepathy, the first human implant to a patient with paralysis, we're going to get some more conversation going and some more input. Not from John Cena at the time because he doesn't seem to be ready. He is no longer invisible. But Tim, what are your thoughts? How do you feel? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Yes or no? Amelia, you invite me to the stage and giving me a closed answer.
But you know what's so funny?
Question? Are you serious?
You know what's so funny? Yes or no? Because I know whichever one you will explain your information because I know who I'm speaking to. But you know what, Tim? How do you feel about this new?
You better stop trolling me on your stage.
I'm not trolling you on the stage, Tim. So tell me. I know how you feel about Elon Musk. How do you feel about the first human that's being implanted? What are your thoughts? Are you Team Cyborg or no?
Amelia, you putting words in my mouth. I don't know when the last time I eluded my sentiment about Elon Musk. But anyway, since I'm content, peace to the room. I think it's interesting because for anybody that knows, medical devices have to be approved by the FDA, right? So I think this is big business stuff. So I will say this, that if Elon is allowed to be approved by the FDA for this particular process, it opens up a whole new world for his particular company, right? So I just think that was very interesting, given that of course, he's experimenting with monkeys and those that are terminally ill, whether it's human or mammal-like. But I think it opens up a whole new world of not just technology, but also regulation that needs to be implemented. Because if the FDA does approve this, right, I mean, he's going to be adding to his net worth at the end of the day. And I land my.
It sounds like by the article they have.
I was about to say they gave the company clearance last year. So it doesn't mean that it's approved. It just means that they give them clearance to do this, you see? So that could be the tricky word because it didn't say clearly that it was approved by the FDA. It says the U.S. Food and Drug Administration gave the company clearance last year to conduct its first trial to test its implant on humans, a critical milestone in the startup hopes to help patients overcome paralysis and a host of neurological conditions. Now, I agree with what you said, Tim. Of course, it's going to have tons of regulation. But my thing is, starting out, he is going to have the entire market. He can develop and create everything.
That's what you do when you in the big business world. You want some type of control, but I think, given that this is something that's embedded in people's I don't know what part of the brain, but literally embedded, right? It gets real tricky because I'm looking at it from a tech perspective, and it gets real tricky. I mean, it's billions of dollars spent on cybersecurity, and they can't even get that right 100% of the time. So when it comes to cybersecurity somebody's psyche, that's a whole nother world, and I land my plane.
Now that really makes sense, and Roscoe, I'm gonna come right back to you because I was thinking as I was looking at your squirrel, what if they decide to start putting in animals start doing weird shit, and I don't know. Yes, there's a lot of cons to it, but I think regulation is gonna play definitely a big part. Roscoe, I'm passing it over to you.
Now, what you just said literally just drove my thought out of my head because you reminded me of another one of those dark web videos that talked about someone on this dark web video said that he truly believes that the reason why they did the COVID isolations and all of that was to replace the batteries in all of the pigeons, because he's never seen a baby pigeon. And to your point, even some of the stuff that, just what Tim said sparked off, that's regulations as far as tech, as far as medicine, then the rights of others. Because, we live in a wicked world with some really creepy, evil people, and it's like, who's to say that they're not going to embed all kinds of surveillance type of stuff into this? Like, yeah, I read a lot of sci-fi, y'all, but it's like I can see a lot of the stuff in the pages of the books that I read coming true. Like things like X-ray vision and shit like that. Like there's so much that could be unlocked when you start taking technology into that direction. And me personally, I don't know that I care for the idea of the individuals that's working on it being the ones to do that.
Yeah. It's gonna, I hope that we have more conversations around this as it develops. I know I'll bring updates, stories around it, because it's brand new. It's very interesting. It opens a lot of doors, both on the negative and the positive side. They didn't really go into details as far as did they have psychiatrists there. I'm sure they have neurologists there, of course, but any of the psychologists, and what does this team look like? What doctors are on there other than the medical doctors?
Amelia, can I say something?
Absolutely.
Okay, because I got to get back to this meeting, but I think one of the things that from a humanitarian perspective, I think it's a little interesting. Interesting in a way where it's going to annihilate a huge segment of our society, right? Because I'm thinking about the people that actually need or would like this particular device, but because of their socioeconomic class, right, they may not be able to afford it, right? So even if they are in the military, right? So I think it really, I'm pretty sure Elon is going to be praised by this quote unquote this procedure, but I think it's going to be a lot of people left out that could benefit from it, assuming it's safe, that may not be able to afford it.
That's a good point. Yeah, it might be for the wealthy. But you never know. The government might start offering it, but we'll see. This is a long way. This is just the beginning, so we'll definitely keep you guys updated of how this story come along, if it works, because it's definitely interesting. So I'm gonna bring up another. This is really brief, and we can discuss this. I'm just gonna throw it out there real quick for you guys to think about. Donald Trump nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. Wow, I can't even get it out because the shit sounds so weird to me. You know what? That's how your mind works. Your mind cannot compute anything that really doesn't make sense. At least that's how mine works. But anyway, Donald Trump is probably going to cancel me. He has been nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. What are y'all thoughts on that? We will come right back with that. We're going to take a quick commercial break. Shout out to our sponsors, and then we'll be right back. Stop.